Here's the rewritten story, maintaining the original plot and context, using American English, aiming for a compelling narrative with a clear resolution, and highlighting the changes made. Marcus Hayes had always dreamed of owning a luxury car, not just any car, but a brand-new jet-black Aston Martin. Sleek, powerful, and worth every penny he had worked so hard to earn as a successful software engineer in Silicon Valley. Marcus had spent years saving for this moment. Today was supposed to be the best day of his life, but the second he stepped into Regal Motors, an upscale car dealership in downtown Los Angeles, he could feel the tension in the air. Salesmen in crisp suits glanced at him, then quickly turned away. Customers gave him side-eye as he walked past. He ignored them and walked straight to the showroom's centerpiece, a stunning Aston Martin Vantage. "Excuse me, sir," Marcus called to a salesman nearby, a tall man with a name tag that read David. David turned around, forcing a tight-lipped smile. "Can I help you?" he asked. "Yes, I'd like to buy this car," Marcus said, patting the hood of the vehicle. David let out a small, doubtful chuckle. "Sir, this is a high-end model. Perhaps you'd like to look at something more affordable." Marcus didn't flinch. "No, I want this one. I'm ready to pay in full, cash, or wire transfer." David's smile vanished. "Let me, check with my manager." He hurried away, whispering something to a short, bald man behind a glass office. They both stared at Marcus, shaking their heads. Marcus sighed, knowing exactly what was happening. It wasn't the first time he had been judged based on his skin color rather than his credentials. He pulled out his phone and checked his balance again. He could buy 3 of these cars if he wanted. Still, no amount of success could shield him from the assumptions of small-minded people. The manager approached, arms crossed. "We don't usually keep cars like this for, casual browsing," he said, his voice dripping with condescension. Marcus's eyes narrowed. "Casual browsing? I'm here to buy a car, not window shop." David smirked. "Sir, we have to be careful with certain types of transactions, you understand." Marcus's patience was wearing thin. "No, actually, I don't understand." The manager hesitated before turning to David. "Call the cops," he muttered under his breath. Marcus's heart pounded. "Call the cops? On what grounds?" Before he could say another word, David had already stepped aside and dialed 911. Minutes later, flashing red and blue lights illuminated the dealership. 2 police officers stormed in, hands on their holsters. The entire showroom fell silent, all eyes on Marcus. A burly officer with a thick mustache approached. "We got a call about a suspicious individual attempting fraud." Marcus's jaw tightened. "Suspicious individual? Fraud? I was about to buy a car." He gestured toward the Aston Martin. David smirked. "Sir, we have to be careful with certain types of transactions, you understand." The officer turned to Marcus. "Do you have any ID?" Marcus pulled out his wallet, handing over his driver's license and work ID. The officer examined them carefully, then glanced at the name on the dealership paperwork. "So, you're actually buying this?" the officer asked, eyebrows raised. "Yes," Marcus said firmly. "And I don't appreciate being treated like a criminal for it." The second officer, a young woman, frowned. "Sir, do you have proof of funds?" Marcus sighed and once again showed his bank balance. The officers exchanged looks before turning to the manager. "Sir," the mustached officer said, his voice sharp. "Why did you call us?" The manager hesitated. "We just wanted to be sure. People try scams all the time." The officer crossed his arms. "So, let me get this straight. A black man walks in, wants to buy a car, has the money, and instead of selling it to him, you call the cops." David's smirk faded. "It was just a precaution." The young officer shook her head. "Sir, this is racial profiling, and if Mr. Hayes chooses to, he can press charges." Marcus's lips curled into a smirk. "Oh, trust me, I will." At that moment, another customer, an older white man, stepped forward. "I saw the whole thing," he said. "This is disgraceful." You judged this man the moment he walked in. If that's how you do business, I'm taking my money elsewhere." One by one, other customers murmured in agreement. Some left, others pulled out their phones, recording the incident. The dealership staff began to panic. News travels fast. Within hours, footage of the incident went viral. Customers flooded the dealership's social media, condemning their behavior. #BoycottRegalMotors was trending for all the wrong reasons. Meanwhile, Marcus met with his lawyer, who assured him that a discrimination lawsuit was not only possible but likely to win. By noon, the dealership's corporate office sent out a desperate apology, but the damage was done. David was fired, and the manager resigned under pressure. As for Marcus, he walked into a different dealership the next day and drove off in his brand-new Aston Martin, purchased from a company that treated him with the respect he deserved. As he sped down the highway, wind rushing through his open window, he smiled. Justice had been served. Later that evening, Marcus received an unexpected email from a journalist at a major news outlet. They wanted to interview him about his experience. He agreed, knowing that sharing his story might prevent this from happening to someone else. Change had to start somewhere. The dealership, once a thriving business, saw a sharp decline in sales. Former loyal customers turned their backs on them. It wasn't long before the company announced it was shutting down. Their reputation was in ruins. Marcus wasn't one to gloat, but as he pulled into his driveway, he couldn't help but feel satisfied. He had done nothing but try to make a purchase, yet he had exposed an ugly truth about discrimination in business. And in the end, justice had been served swiftly and publicly. The story concludes with Marcus's victory over prejudice, leading to significant consequences for the dealership and a broader conversation about racial profiling.